Well, hey, welcome and thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. My objective is to give you really good value that'll help kind of make sense of what I think for many people is pretty confusing. And you may have been hearing a lot of talk about sales funnels versus the traditional website. If you haven't heard talk about that a lot, you will. Sales funnels are really kind of, not only are they the future, but they're really the present. And so for your business, the traditional website used to be great and worked great with search on Google, Bing, and elsewhere. But today, because things have changed so much, a lot of people found that although they were ranking high up on page one of Google, or at least in the first couple of pages and getting lots of traffic, that could change at an instant. And so they really realized they didn't have as much control, and many businesses went out of business as those changes took place. And so fast forward to today, uh, gratefully there are many more places to get traffic other than Google, like Facebook, and there are still some hidden gems out there, and there's other places that are emerging. And so the good news is there's traffic, but it's traffic really that you've got to buy, traffic that you've got to control, but you really want traffic that you own at the end of the day. So that way, if algorithms changes, and they do, Facebook changes their algorithm all the time, so does Google. And so again, if you're kind of betting on having your website be found through search engine optimization, then that's going to be a challenge for you when things change. Now, if you're not even doing any of that, if you're doing some of the more traditional, kind of older ways of getting your business, like referrals only, you don't have much control over that either. You're kind of at the whim of when people are going to refer you business. If you're waiting for, postcards to go out, you're spending time and money really to get 1 or 2% conversion on that, which can make you money. But what if you can make so much more, double, triple, quadruple your leads and sales by having a concerted effort in a really strategic way of marketing and positioning you in your local market as the go-to person? What if that was possible without kind of carpet bombing your area? Years ago, that's what I did. I started as a realtor, and I printed out 200 color flyers, and I walked blocks, and I passed out flyers and got yelled at and all kinds of fun stuff. Dogs barked at me, and I've seen actually, 16, 17 years later, I'm seeing people still doing that. I would say a couple months ago, I saw somebody doing that. And if you're still doing that, it's okay. I don't blame you. At least at least you're getting out there and doing something, whereas other people have lots of other excuses why they're not doing it. But my encouragement today would be to really show you the new way and the new opportunity with social media, and then of course a very strategic way of building your business. So what you're looking at on the screen right now is really just a super duper ugly website, as you can see. Kind of goes without saying, but now this is an exaggeration to kind of prove a point. Obviously there are really pretty looking websites today on WordPress and things like that. But nonetheless, this is kind of the experience for your user. So while the website might be attractive to the user, um, the experience that they might be going through is one of confusion. When I go to Walmart, my experience is similar to this. Some of you may be expert shoppers. I'm definitely not one of them. And truth is, about 98% of your visitors who show up at your website today are leaving because this is what they feel like. This is obviously not what your website looks like, but this is what they feel like when they're looking around and they see all the different options that they can choose from. And a confused mind does nothing. A confused mind will ultimately leave because they're not really sure. There's nobody really leading them through the process. So I often say Walmart is like this. They've got a lot of great products, but there's tons of products and a bunch of aisles for you to walk down. Whenever I walk in there, I've got to ask a salesperson or not a salesperson, but a Walmart representative to find me the product I'm looking for, kind of guide me through there. And so here in California, and I'm sure in other parts of the country, there are what are called IKEA. And IKEA is pretty cool because if you see here up at the top and of course down here at the bottom, when I go to an IKEA store, uh, it's very directed. I know exactly where I'm supposed to go. In fact, they've got these big arrows that tell me exactly where to go. So I don't get lost. And in fact, they start me by going up an escalator or stairs to, usually an escalator to the top of the store. And when I get in, on the right-hand side, there's a bag for me to put all my purchases in. And then there's these big arrows on the floor so I can't get lost, right? And so it forces me to look at all of their products, but I'm also being guided. I don't have to think about what I'm doing. And so they're making it easy for me to purchase what they sell. So usually the folks that are watching this video who are watching my content are going to be, most of the time, pretty high ticket folks, realtors, wholesalers, mortgage brokers, and then even, I've even helped chiropractors, hair salons, pizzerias, I mean, you name it, so, but usually we're going to be, I'm talking specifically to high ticket folks, people that are going to be selling their services anywhere from $3,000 to $50,000 might be what one client is worth to you. Your dream customer might be worth that. And so wouldn't it stink to kind of send your dream customer to a website, although it might be beautiful, it might feel confusing like this to your prospect. And instead, you could lead them through a sales funnel, which is a step-by-step version of this, but it just allows them to see one thing at a time, so they're not having to decide on too many things. It's just one thing that they're seeing about you. So maybe it's your initial offer, maybe it's looking at your property, maybe it's learning more about you, getting a home evaluation, getting some kind of a free report from you, or some kind of a video series that positions you differently than your competitors, and gets people to know, like, and trust you so that they want to do business with you, and obviously let you handle their expensive real estate, of which you can turn around and make a profit of anywhere from, I don't know, $3,000 to $50,000, depending on what you're doing. Are you a realtor, wholesaler, or mortgage broker? So, obviously it's going to fluctuate. So this is a cool little tool that I use, that I just started using actually just recently. So I'm still getting familiar with it, but I'm hoping that it's going to help you to kind of understand what I'm describing when I talk about the IKEA and why it's so successful and why it's so easy to just kind of follow the arrow as me as a consumer that's going to be purchasing these items on the sides here, right? It just guides me through and makes it easy for me to do. So your customer who's finding you today is, 98% of folks, especially in real estate, are starting their search online, right? And so they're finding you by, either checking out Google or, so let's put Google up here, and maybe they're looking at, they're going to Google, but they're also seeing some AdWords on there. And of course, today, even more popular and probably becoming more and more known is Facebook ads. And of course there's YouTube and lots of other cool ways, but this is really kind of where people are hanging out, and they're either searching for information about how to get help to sell their property or how to buy a property, or if they're in Facebook, they're checking out what grandma's doing and what Uncle John is doing, and all of a sudden an ad pops up that coincidentally is related to something they just clicked on 5 minutes ago. And of course that's how targeting is done. So your objective, of course, is to get right here, whether people are searching for what you do or they're scrolling through their news feed and they have an interest in what you do. Your goal is to put your ads right here. Now that's how you're going to gather the traffic. The traffic's got to go somewhere, so it would then need to go to usually an opt-in page. So you find the traffic and you kind of guide that traffic and squeeze it into what's called a squeeze page. You squeeze it all in here, and this opt-in usually is going to have some kind of a compelling offer, and it's got to be compelling because if they can't get past here, they're not going to go to anything else, right? So this has got to be done really, really well. It's got to be good headline, good copy. It's got to lead them to want to give up their contact information, and that's either an email, it could be their first name and email, it could be their first name, email, and phone number. And so then from here, they've got to be taken somewhere else. And so usually for high ticket uh, funnels, and of course there's different different ways that you can do stuff, but you can send them here to let's actually put this here, and you can send them to let's put a sales video right in the middle. And usually it'll be like a webinar of some kind, or it could be just a sales letter. Good old sales letters, but let's say webinar or a sales letter. And then that's going to compel them and show them social proof, get them to know, like, and trust you, so maybe a little bit more about your story. And then it's going to get them to go to a application form. And this is what's really cool, is because now you've got your prospects applying to work with you, because here they've been compelled, and they see you differently, right? They see you as an authority figure in what you do. They see you as the option that's right for them, the only option, the only logical solution for their problem. And so now they're being presented with an application here. And from here, then it would just go to a simple, once they filled out the application, they would be sent to a thank you page. And the thank you page then could then automatically go to your, it could then automatically redirect them to your online calendar. So we'll say online calendar. So if this is confusing, I hope it's not. The idea here is that you can see it's just one step at a time, right? It's just one thing at a time. It's an opt-in because there's a compelling offer here. You know, you're in real estate, so you obviously make offers all day long. We're just taking those offers and we're putting them on one page, making one offer, so your prospect has one decision to make. And then here they're going to learn about you either through sales letter or a well-written, high compelling, high persuasive sales letter or webinar. And then they're going to be guided to apply to work with you. They're going to be thanked for filling this out, and then they're going to be sent to your online calendar so they can book an appointment with you. So essentially, at the end of the next day, you wake up in the morning like I do, and you're booked. Right? That's how you get booked. That's how I get booked. That's how I've been doing it for years now. And obviously, not everybody who comes to the application is going to fill it out, right? So what do you do about the people that don't fill it out? Well, you automatically deploy an email sequence. And the email sequence is just more persuasion, more truth. Obviously you want to be sincere in everything you're saying, but people just don't know it, right? They're not going to know everything about you by going to your opt-in page or even your webinar. Also, they're bombarded usually with information and other people, your competitors. But the nice thing about the fact that you caught their email here is that you can follow up with them, and you can follow up with them automatically. You can share more information. You can give them maybe checklists, things that they can use that are helpful for them, and you can follow up with them. And all of these follow-ups are really geared towards getting them back to the application page. Excuse me. Right? So that way they'll come here, and then they'll come to the thank you page, and then the online calendar. So that's really what all that is. So if they don't fill this out, they're automatically going to be getting an email regardless that's going to essentially try to get them back to apply with you, thank them for applying, and then schedule a call with you. And that's really the difference, and how this is like going to an IKEA, where it's step by step. I see the products, but I'm being led through the sales process versus going to a website where I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I do, but you're giving me too many things so I can get distracted. Maybe you're making me think too hard. Maybe I'm thinking, I noticed that your grammar is not as good. So maybe your competitor's got better grammar. I just start overanalyzing stuff, or I get confused and I do nothing because it's too much. Whereas your sales funnel, is just step by step by step by step by step. And if they don't make it all the way past here, these automated email series are deployed. So this is what I do for my clients. This is what I invite folks like yourself to number one, go through the process, because you would see actually what I would build for you. But two, if you notice, I don't have to go to networking events. I don't have to walk blocks like I used to do as a realtor and pass out flyers and get barked at. I don't get perceived as a salesperson, but more as a trusted advisor, which is really what I want. It's enjoyable for my prospect, for the people that want to work with me, and it's enjoyable for me, right? It's not this awkward, salesy, pushy, sleazy type of a thing. I don't need to do any of that. And when you start to learn that you can get hundreds, if not thousands of people to come through this process, you no longer have to chase, beg, or plead anybody to work with you. You essentially have cracked the code. You've got the golden goose here, right? And so what I do is I build this for my clients, so that way they're in the same position. So when they wake up in the morning, they're looking at their online calendar and they're seeing it booked. You can see, here, right here, 4 appointments that have come in pretty much all at the same time at 7:33. So that happens all the time. It's automated for me. I use Time Trade, so as you can see here, it's Time Trade, and that's just an online booking service that I use. So that would be the process. Pretty simple in its concept. Building, of course, and making it work and making it convert is really kind of the complex part of it, and that's really what I try to do, is take that part off of the hands of my clients, so they can have their own marketing department, their own expert that does it well, that does it for their own business. So I do this for my own business. I would just do the same thing for your business. I do it for our photography studio as well. For my wife, she owns a photography studio. I do the exact same thing. It doesn't have a webinar in it, but it's got videos of her behind the scenes and things like that. And so same process that we do for our businesses, I also build that for folks like yourself. So anyway, if it's something that you think that you might be interested in exploring, the process is real simple. We just do a discovery call, or also known as a breakthrough call, where you're really learning, like, wow, I don't have to chase, beg, and plead people. I don't have to go to networking events and waste time passing out cards to people that are just trying to pass out their cards to me, and we're all just kind of, it's like a frenzy, right? I don't have to walk blocks. I don't do postcards that are getting 1 or 2% conversions, or spend a lot with Zillow and Trulia and whatever else there is today. Instead, you've got your own marketing department, your own person that you can talk with on a regular basis and learn about what's going on, but you don't have to do it. You can just trust that somebody else is going to do that for you. So if that's something that you might be interested in, I'd like to invite you to see if there might be a fit. All right, so hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I definitely look forward to speaking with you soon.